Hey, come see us on tour. I'll be in Davenport, Iowa, Las Vegas, Nevada, Chicago, Illinois, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So guess what? A peer-reviewed study has found that 74% of sudden deaths were likely due to the COVID-19 vaccines.
Jeez.
Now, this study was originally published in The Lancet a year ago. It immediately got 100,000 downloads. That's unbelievable. And then immediately, the next day, The Lancet pulled that study.
Huh.
But it's a peer-reviewed study. And how many people died of sudden deaths are connected to the vax? 74%. Likely due to the COVID-19 vaccines. Now, of course, that the CDC and the FDA, I'm sure, say that's not true because they say it's safe and effective. And it's been approved for emergency use authorization. Did you know we're still in emergency?
No.
I don't think we're in. I thought the president said that the pandemic was over like a year ago at least, or more. Are we still? I don't know. Are we still in an emergency? I don't know. A peer-reviewed study has found that 74% of sudden deaths were likely due to the COVID-19 vaccines, and another study has shown that these vaccines increase the risk of blood clots in the brain. These findings have led to discussions about the potential cognitive damage caused by the vaccines, with some individuals reporting severe brain fog, psychiatric destabilization, and accelerated dementia following vaccination. Did someone give Joe Biden the actual vaccine?
Huh.
The studies and discussions highlight concerns about the safety and long-term effects of the COVID-19 vaccines. Well, my doctor tells me we're not going to know for another at least 7 years what the complete effect of it. That's what Fauci would say anyway. He said it takes 10 years to know what happens with the vaccine. So here's the guy, William Makis, MD. Breaking news, our Lancet censored paper is now peer-reviewed and available online. A systemic review of autopsy findings in deaths after COVID-19 vaccination, 325 autopsy cases. They found that 73.9% of deaths were directly due to or significantly contributed to by the COVID-19 vaccination. Our data suggests a highly likelihood of a causal link between COVID-19 vaccination and death. This is a victory of science over censorship. Big Pharma put the squeeze on Lancet, but has failed to stop us. Our paper was delayed by a whole year, and those actions of censorship and cancellation led to many deaths that could have been prevented. The paper could be a game changer. Thanks to Dr. McCullough, who's been on the show, friend of the show. So I'm sure that's just what this paper says. The FDA and the CDC say the vaccines are safe and effective, so I got to go with that. Even though this is peer-reviewed. Here's what this says. It's from Forensic Science International, published June 21st, 2014. It's called A Systemic Review of Autopsy Findings in Deaths After COVID-19 Vaccination. Here are the highlights. We found that 73.9% of deaths were directly due to or significantly contributed to by the COVID-19 vaccination. Our data suggests a high likelihood of a causal link between COVID-19 vaccination and death. These findings indicate the urgent need to elucidate the pathophysiologic mechanisms of death with the goal of risk stratification and avoidance of death for the large numbers of individuals who have taken or will receive one or more COVID-19 vaccines in the future. This review helps provide the medical and forensic community a better understanding of COVID-19 vaccine fatal adverse events. So here's the results of that study. We initially identified 678 studies, and after screening for our inclusion criteria, included 44 papers that contained 325 autopsy cases and one necropsy case. The mean age of death was 70.4 years. The most implicated organ system among cases was cardiovascular, followed by hematological, respiratory, and multiple organ systems. 3 or more organ systems were affected in 21 cases. What does hematological mean? You know what that does that mean brain? What does hematological mean? Hematology is the branch of medicine concerned with the study and the causes, prognosis, treatment, prevention of disease. Oh, it's blood. Blood disorder. The mean time from vaccination to death was 14.3 days. Most deaths occurred within a week from last vaccine administration. A total of 240 deaths, or 73.9%, were independently adjudicated as directly due to or significantly contributed to by COVID-19 vaccination, of which the primary causes of death include sudden cardiac death, 35%, pulmonary embolism, 12.5%, myocardial infarction, 12%, VITT, I don't know what that is, 7.9%, myocarditis, 7.1%, multi-system inflammatory syndrome, 4.6%, and cerebral hemorrhage, 3.8%. So that's where their findings. What is the conclusion? The consistency seen among cases in this review with known COVID-19 vaccine mechanisms of injury and death, coupled with autopsy confirmation by physician adjudication, suggests there is a high likelihood of a causal link between COVID-19 vaccines and death. Further urgent investigation is required for the purpose of clarifying our findings. Well, I hope they do the further research, because I'm sure what they're going to find out, just as the FDA and the CDC says, that the vaccines are safe and effective. And this is just some goofy study that's peer-reviewed. I hope they do the further investigation. They say it's required. So if they do the further investigation, they're going to find out that COVID-19 vaccine is safe and effective. And although there are adverse events, they are rare. Rare. So, when I think of the friends I've that have attacked me over me sticking my chin out and reporting the things that I found out about COVID, I found out that the countries that had the biggest uptake of the vaccine were also having the biggest outbreaks of COVID. I brought on Dr. Robert Malone, who told me it was a leaky vaccine, which means you can't vaccinate your way out of this pandemic. And I reported all this, and people hated me for it. People hated me just for sharing the facts about my own vaccine injury. People not only hated me, they slandered me, and they attacked me viciously. People who've been in my home, people who I've paid to perform. People who I've known all my adult life. Have, in a most scandalous ways, slandered me publicly. And continue to do so. And the good thing is, now we know who the cowards are. Now we know who would go along with the Nazis when the Nazis show up. So now, everybody likes to think that, I would fight against the Nazis if I was in France. I would be part of the resistance. Now you know who wouldn't. Now you know who would turn in their Jew friends. Now you know. And now I know those people were never really friends. Those people were cowards, go-alongs, and horrific, integrity-challenged motherfuckers. And they're all over Hollywood. They're all over the comedy scene. They're all over it. Not one of them with the guts to say shit. Look at all those comedy, the top comics in the country. Go watch their specials from the last 3 or 4 years. Shaming, slandering, smearing, insulting anybody who questioned Big Pharma, the murderers of the world, and corrupt government employees. As you can see, I'm having a hard time getting over it, especially when a study like this comes out. But of course, I'm sure the study has got to be incorrect. They say they need further urgent investigation to clarify their findings, because I'm sure the FDA and the CDC isn't lying. The FDA and the CDC says the vaccine's safe and effective. In fact, they are recommending your 10th booster right now. Right now, I just saw a tweet from the CDC. The head, it's a female. The head of the CDC says, you get ready to get your 10th booster. They wouldn't say that if it wasn't safe and effective. So of course it is. And this new peer-reviewed study is off their rocker. I say follow the CDC and the FDA. And if not, the Bill Gates funded WHO. Why would the Bill Gates funded WHO ever lie to you? Why would they ever mislead us? That's who you should be following. So it'll never say under Chris Cuomo's Wikipedia page that he's a conspiracy theorist. It'll never say under Rachel Maddow's Wikipedia page she's a conspiracy theorist, even though they've spread the biggest conspiracy theories of all time. Russiagate, the Ukraine war, the gas attacks in Syria, Libya, and everything associated with COVID. And it just blows my mind that there are still people who are grown-ups, grown-up men, grown-ass men and women who still think that they're getting the news from TV. That just blows my mind. Hey, come see us on tour. I'll be in Davenport, Iowa, Las Vegas, Nevada, Chicago, Illinois, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.